It's a good way to start, bro.
All right, we're live. I'm going to put the 30-second countdown. All right, you ready?
What's up? All right. What's going on, guys? We're finally live on this nice, beautiful, hot spring Thursday. Today is June 17th, 2021, and we are the Locked In Podcast. This is episode 39. Today's topic is the evolution of cell phones from 1994 to modern day 2021. So it's a good topic. We're excited to be here. What's going on, Steve?
What's going on, George? Excited to be here as well, man. Interesting topic tonight, man.
Yeah.
Good choice, by the way. I know it was
Thank
your
you,
choice. Yes, sir. Excited to get into this one, man. Episode 39, 2 days from Juneteenth.
Yep.
2 days from Yeah, man. 2 days from Juneteenth. So basically, what we have for you guys tonight is it's episode 39. Evolution of cell phones. We're specifically going to cover the time periods of 1994 to about currently today, 2021. We'll touch on some of the big inventions that kind of came along the way, and like some of the game changers inside the industry and things of that nature. We'll touch on the first phone as well, which did precede 1994. Just real quick, just for a fun fact, but we're going to cover anything from 1994 to 2021, current day today. So I'm excited to be back in the building as well, man. As I said, we're 2 days away from Juneteenth. So if anybody doesn't know, Juneteenth was made a national holiday last year. I'm sure a lot of you know that. It's pretty much just celebrating the emancipation of slavery. But we're midway through June, and we're 39, one away from 40, and again, this is rocking the two of us here today, but some guests I think starting next week, we have some guests kind of lined up going forward, which should be good for the thing. So obviously, guys, we're the Locked In Podcast. You guys know this by now. We cover everything from personal development tips, sports news, music, and much, much more. You're rocking with episode 39 of the podcast. We're going to kind of hop into this one. So, George, if you want to kick it off, and then I'll kind of hop in as well. So we're just going to kick this one off, guys. But before we do, as always, 3 things you have to do. 3 things. Number one, if you like our podcast, spread the word about our podcast, share our content. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, personal website, Twitter, almost every social media platform there is, probably besides Snapchat. But we're on everything here, guys. Share our content, spread the word, spread the love. And then also, number 2, if you see something you like, or you just want to chime in on YouTube or Facebook on the live stream right now, comment down below and let us know your thoughts and concerns. The feedback has been great the last couple of weeks. Really, really appreciate that, guys, because your feedback is always top priority to us. Without that, this literally doesn't work. So, continue to drop your feedback. And number 3, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's 2021, guys. Be true. Be you. True. Stay hydrated. All right, man. So, all right, bro. Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off, shall we? No, I appreciate it, bro. No, good stuff, and good. Way to kind of start the show and intro. Like you said, definitely gotta stay hydrated, bro. Drink some good water. We're gonna get into this and talk about a little bit how cell phones impacted our lives and lives of many others. G and Steve are in the building for this one, and we're gonna get it popping. So now, Steve, quick question, just before we get into this. When is the first cell phone you owned? Do you remember the first cell phone you owned? When that was?
Yeah, I do. It's actually a good question. And it wasn't even something I really prepared for, but I do remember. I had a Nokia track phone, and I think my first phone was when it was either 11 or 12. I think it was 11. I would say 11. I think when I had my first phone, and I bought it with a paper out. Can you see me all right?
Wait, time out. One second. Now, were you 11 or you got it 2011? I didn't catch that.
No, 11 years old. So I was.
Oh, you're 11 years old.
So it was 17 years ago. It was about 2004 was my first cell phone, and I bought it with a paper out. like I had. So I think the phone was like $20 at the time. It was a Nokia track phone. It didn't even have a colored screen on it. It was a green screen, and it had like games like Snake and like other like little things. But it was like a $20 phone. It was a blue and white phone too. I don't know if you remember. It was like one of them classic Nokia track phones, and it had like the white like the numbers, and it was just a solid. It wasn't a flip phone or anything. It was just a straight Nokia track phone. How about you, man?
Those, bro. Yeah, actually, I wanted to get to that. That's how those phones were. Basically, some of them were just like they weren't even flip phones yet. Some of them, I mean, well, about four, they had a couple, but since I'm a little older, the first phones I saw was in the '90s. They were like the really big ones, the really long ones, like the ones from the movie, like King of New York or New Jack City. Those kind of phones, the really big ones. And it's funny because in those movies they're like this big, and that's how the big they were. I mean, the first cell phones from like 1990, and some were probably like possibly late 80s, but only like people like in Japan, USA, and Germany could probably have those kind of phones. To be real, true, like 88, 89, maybe even 87. So, but like 1990, 91, that's when a lot of these phones, started coming in, and that's the first time I seen the phone was probably like 90, around like 94, 95. But it was one of those phones, one of those early 90s phones, and my uncle had, and just literally a phone call and just put in your pocket. There was no light, there was no. I believe there might have been I don't even think that time. There's something on it, like a little something. Like, how we have the timing on our phone out? It's kind of like something like right here, like it's like a time. It was like this small, right? It was pretty small. So it was like a hand phone. It was like a hand phone, cell phone, And so so that was the first time. Now, as far as phones, like this is like how since we kind of begin the show, this is how I kind of want to break into that. Like you said, some first phones were created since as early as like 73, and throughout like the late 70s and 80s, they were experimenting a lot with different types of phones. But we'll focus kind of like from like 1994 and beyond that point. And like I was saying, the kind of phones, like the ones I put on a poster, for the if you see the poster on the live on the podcast page. I mean, I'm sorry, the podcast page on the IG. That kind of phone was actually one of the phones they had like in the early days, bro. I mean, there's a picture behind the screen, and there's a picture again on some of the statuses that I did for Facebook. And if you look at the phones, it kind of like it shows like I don't know if I could put it here, but there's like almost like a diagram that shows like different phones: 94, 95, 96, then like around like 98, 97. Coming out 99 was a little different. 2000, it changed all. By 2001 is when it started adding cameras and small things, it changed on the phones. Like the first, like the Nokia and all those phones.
Yeah, look at the background. Look at the background. Look how old that one phone is on the on the left side. Yeah. That's like one of the really big original phones.
The really big original cell phones. Yeah, the cell phone. And then there's another one right here. Yep, to the left of my screen here. There's actually to my left and to the right. Another one.
This was actually the first phone I had. I don't know if you can see it. Look at it. See it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. Dude, they had those phones in 02. They were popping back in 2002. Those phones. I remember exactly what you're talking about. I've seen those phones before,
Yeah, now I got an iPhone, so it's completely different.
Big different, yeah. Evolution right there.
Exactly. So, yeah, man. So I didn't get that. Was your phone a flip phone or no? It was just your first phone you ever had. It was a flip.
No, it wasn't. It was more like I forgot what it was, to be honest. Something like the one that Mary said like a few years ago. It resembled like a Galaxy, but it was big. It was 06. Then I had a flip phone, a flip phone, because I remember people would call me like 08. I had one of those. Then I would see it. Yeah.
Nokia was pretty popping in 1990, so we're starting in like 94. Nokia was very, very popular. I got some notes here. I think Nokia. I'm not sure when Nokia's first phone came out, but they were pretty popular in the 90s. And then even in the early 2000s, Nokia was very, very popular as well. I think most of us know that like in 2007, the iPhone was released, and that kind of just changed the game completely when the first iPhone came out. In terms of a touchscreen compatible phone, the iPhone kind of changed the game in 07. I think most of us understand that, but that was a complete game changer. Because you figure what preceded, not getting too ahead down the timeline, but you figure what preceded iPhone was what was it, like Motorola Razors, Blackberries
and Motorola Razors, yeah. And what Blackberries were there was like just to kind of slow down there, like you said, timeline wise, Blackberries around from 02 or maybe not 02. I'm sorry, like maybe like 06 or 07, they were kind of popular. But 09 I had one, and people were using them then. Around 2010, 2011, it's when they fell out of favor to the cell phone, to the iPhone, and of course with like the Androids and all that, they became kind of like team iPhone or team Android or Apple, which again iPhone operates with Apple. So Yeah, like you said, Nokia was definitely big in the like 90s and 2000s. I'm not sure exactly Nokia. I gotta have to research when exactly the first Nokia phone came out, but I know that like they had some phones like some Nokia's in like 02 or 01, and they're the ones like with the vibration, with the name. You can also back in the 2000s like 04, 05, 06, 07, 08. They had the ones with like you could put like the song could be a ringtone. Not only song, but it could be a beat of a song, but a cellular type of beat. Like they used to have the 50 Cent song Candy Shop back in the day. It was like one of the ringtones. Remember the ringtones?
Yeah. The Nokia. Fun fact for you, I actually do have it in my notes. The
Um,
first Nokia phone was released in 1992. It was the Nokia 1011. So it was the Nokia 1011. It was released in 1992 on November 10th. So that's a fun
mm,
fact for you there. And
yeah.
the first BlackBerry was actually released in 1999. The first BlackBerry. So it actually preceded the early 2000s. But Blackberries really weren't that popular in
Not
1999.
so much the 2000s though. Yeah, probably the mid 2000s they got more popularity. Early mid 2000s they became more popular, but the first one came out in 99. Yeah, 99 was a big year, and 98, to start wise, there was big years, for the cell phone evolution to take it to the next level. Because you have to realize, if you remember, because you're old enough to kind of remember the 99 2000 period with all millennium changing so much, even technology, advanced. And if we didn't understand it then, now you understand it more. That like it's really, like definitely, like changing a lot. Like it was a game changer then. Like the phones, because the cameras came around like 2000, 2001, and then the early forms of text messages were going on in 2001, 2002, 2003, around the time. Because you think about it, there was messages back then, and at one point you had to pay for messages. Now it's like part of the plan, the phone plan.
One of the funny things is you remember on old school cell phones, in order to send a text message, there was no keyboard. You literally had to type the button. Like if it's a C, you had to type the 1 key 3 times to get that C. And then you know what I'm saying? It'd be like 2 taps, 3 taps,
Yeah,
1 tap,
some
two
phones kind
taps.
of like that a little bit. Yep.
Yep, you'd have to hit like 8 2 times and then 7 like 3 times. Just like say if you're like, yeah, like it was so different. So different. What a different time. It's crazy. I remember just sending text messages like that. And I remember actually having minutes on a phone, which you pay for like a prepaid card,
Yeah, you pay
and you
card.
literally
Yep.
have
Yep.
minutes. And like every text is like 10 cents or whatever. And it's like it's kind of crazy, or like 5 cents or whatever it is, but kind of crazy when you think about it. How far
Yeah.
along we've come. And going back to the Apple game, Apple came into the game in 07. And I feel like ever since the first Samsung Galaxy was released, which I think was January of 2009, if I'm correct. I have my notes here. Let me see. Oh, it's actually June. So June of 2009. So when the first Samsung Galaxy was released, I feel like it's been a war between Android and Apple ever since that. Ever since I think that date, like June of 2009, it's been kind of a war between Apple and Android. Like
2009, yeah. See, another thing, bro, just not to cut you off, but 99 was a big year for cell phones, and 09 was a big year because, in 09, it's like 10 years later. It's like the phones, like you said, the Blackberries are coming there. Apple had already came out, but now it wasn't what it is now, but it's kind of definitely the top one. Then with 09, with the Androids and all that, it led to this like decade-long, rivalry that's now, it's spawned to another decade, which is 2020, because now we're 2021, so it's been 12 years now since, I like that. You're going in and out. Yeah, I see it, the screen. So it's been
yeah,
12 years since Apple and, this kind of rivalry started. And I mean, for phone goers can't get enough. They want the new phone and all this and that. They want the fly stuff and the phone that's got better service, better picture taking, more room, more gigs, and all that, all the fly shit. And then you have you have like the phones that were kind of like big then, then now you look at it and you're like, okay, they're small, but some phones are kind of like low key, they're kind of still decent. You can still use them as even a second line. I mean, there's a couple different carriers and different vendors, but obviously Samsung and Apple are like, to the top. I mean, that's what I debate. I was even looking at some of the notes here that I have and some of the stuff I've written down. So
they got a lot of good stuff. Obviously, as you guys can always see, you can't really see that the Apple logo or like the little Android emoji, but with that, obviously, if you have an iPhone, you can see the different colored text messages. So obviously, if you have an iPhone, anybody who's messaging you on iMessage is going to be showing right the blue. You see, or the other side, the blue over there.
yeah,
And then,
yep.
and then if you're messaging through SMS, which is what the typical Android user, obviously they can't use the iMessage. So, they're messaging you through the green, which is where my background kind of is right now. So it's a little bit everybody knows that. So I just to kind of give you guys a little bit of insight into the backgrounds here, because our cameras and our screens are kind of blocking the actual emoji,
Yeah,
or
the
I guess
actual emoji, the
or
actual
the logo.
yeah. So just a heads up, where your camera's located, at least from my point of view, from where I am, it's to my left, I'm to the right. You got the Android side, I got the iPhone, because you can see by the
Yeah.
buttons, the circle and the line. It's actually kind of dope, bro. It's kind of cool how you did it. Really neat and really chill, and it looks cool, man. But no,
Yeah,
for sure. So
we're both Apple users, right? So I mean, yeah, we're both
yeah,
Apple users, and even Mario kind of got on the game with that, but we're both Apple.
yeah, definitely
Apple
both
users,
Apple. See,
of
so
course. Yep. And I was
definitely.
Android for I originally had the first iPhone that actually came out in 07. But ever since that day, ever since I had that phone, I was an Android user all the way up until again last year in 2020, when January of 2020, where I went back to iPhone. So I was for the greater part of it over a decade, Android for over a decade. But I switched back to Apple starting last year, and I love it. I love iPhone, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, you're definitely more of a. I always like kind of an iPhone guy, although I do remember you being kind of like on Team Android a little bit. I've used an Android only for a couple like days out of my life, basically. Only like my phone would break down. I have another phone. One time, my mom let me use a phone that she had, like one of her old Androids, which is only like maybe 4 years old now in 2021, so it's still not that old to be technically honest. So I had that one. That was pretty good. I could never get into the texting, but I figured it was actually kind of easier after a while. Like you said, some phones you can still go back to the old texting, like text, 2 times. Like you text C, it says cow, but you got to write couch, and then you kind of have to fix it. That's the hard way of texting. iPhones are simple. Every letter you click it, you just kind of, and even autocorrects it for you. But because you autocorrects it too much, sometimes, it could throw you off a little bit, because you can write another word. And that's one of the things that people were saying, But I mean, the features on iPhones are great. And again, we'll get to iPhones in more in a minute, actually, kind of like talk more about them. But so let's just kind of take it back a little and just compare again, because I got some notes here. I got my stuff, and all that. I got some talking points. So how about so now we talked about the first cell phone you had, the first one I had, also our first experience with them. You remember back in the day though, before you kind of had a cell phone, like maybe before like you were like you see you were about 11, 12, so a little before that, like when your parents probably had one, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your another sibling or whatever the case may be, an older cousin, you look at it and be like, okay, that's a cell phone, and they will be the good cell phone for the time being. And now look at that, that's a cell phone now that like you see like a thrift shop as like a collectible basically, or just like to as a reference to what they had. Maybe like somebody uses like an old phone, somewhere. I know when I went to Albania back in like 06, I had went there. At that point, iPhone wasn't really out yet, but it's just on the verge before coming out, right? And I remember Nokia's and the other phones were pretty, flip phones are pretty popular here. They were like the iPhones are now, because we didn't really have smartphones like that back then, like not these kind, right? That's the smartphones then, not the the ones now. And my uncle, when we got to Albania, he had a cell phone, and these cell phones were from the 90s. So we're in 06. It was summer of 06. I had a phone, whatever I had, and he like an old phone, and I was like, wow, look at my phone, look at this phone. And he like I had those 60, like the 96 or the 95 phone, like the big one, plain, didn't make a phone call, made a phone call, put it right in his pocket. Because 6 there was text messages, they had kind of started, but it was a little different, Like again, you had, like there was minutes, there was messages, that was that time. So that's the memory I have for cell phones. And before that, like back in like 02, I mean, at 14, I didn't really have a cell phone. I mean, I was like, I would just use one my parents would kind of like have for me, but it wasn't really mine. So I think when I was 14, I didn't have one. But my uncles, my parents had something. And that stuff, again, that was like, it wasn't a Nokia, it was an old phone though, from like the 90s and 2000s. And they had that phone. And it was like so old. No text messages, no pictures. One of the phones did have a picture because it was like an 02 phone. So it had the picture, the camera over here on top just had started. But that's just, a little piece of like the sort of like the history of phones. But I mean, before that, bro, the 90s, bro, yeah, no one's taking pictures on their phones, which is why, again, and we'll get to the points in a second, how it's changed the world. These days, you can catch anything on your phone because everybody got a phone or an iPhone even, and everybody got a smartphone. Very few people got an old phone that, barely works, it's got a SIM card. Even, like, some people use phones from, like, 08, 09, 07, and that's about it. That's people that don't care about phones, the ones that don't want to stay current. Like, older folks that used to, the old ones, have a phone just for their needs. Take a little pic, whatever, a little picture, make a phone call and put it back in there. Because that's the thing too. Also, iPhones have changed drastically too, and that's a whole other. That could be a whole other topic and a whole other episode. Just iPhones and Androids, how much they've changed, let alone cell phones as a whole. I mean, that's a very, in-depth subject. You know what I mean? And conversation.
Yeah, definitely, man. Absolutely. Just to kind of like piggyback off that, I kind of have some fun facts to kind of sprinkle in. I kind of jotted
Yeah,
these
you
down.
do.
So I got like some notes here. So the first actual SMS text message was actually sent in 1992. I know this actually kind of precedes 1994, but the first
That's
text
cool.
message was actually sent in 1992, and it was actually sent in the UK. It was in the United Kingdom. It was by a guy who was 22 years old, and he was a developer for a telecom contractor, and he was tasked with actually developing a messaging server for a company called Vodafone or Vodafone, and the text message actually read "Merry Christmas."
Okay, so that's kind of funny. Backtrack a little bit. You said it was in 1992. It was actually in UK, and he read "Merry Christmas" because it was around Christmas time, right?
It was around Christmas time. Yep, it was in December around Christmas time, and he wrote "Merry Christmas," which was interesting.
Yeah, it was around the time you're born, but just after. But yeah, wow.
Yeah, so the first text message is a little younger than me, probably by about a. I mean, I'm at the end of October, so it's probably almost 2 months. Almost 2 months.
Wow.
The first download.
That was an experiment, right?
Yeah, he was tasked with creating it, so he was able to do it. And 1998 was actually the year of the first downloadable content that was sold to mobile phones. And it was. And do you know what content that was?
No.
Take a guess between what are some things you can add to your phone? Like just guess something. I'll give you
like what, cameras, texting, or just stuff on the text messages. I mean, like more features or what?
Yeah, it's something that we don't really use today, to be honest.
Yonder?
No. So I'll give it to you. It's actually the ringtone. The ringtone was the notable content to a cell phone. And I remember ringtones were so popping in grade school. I used to buy ringtones. I remember I had like $80 on a phone, and it was ironically, I think it was my mom's old phone. So she actually gave it. It was I think it was the second phone I ever had. And it was by the company was Virgin Mobile, and so it was my first flip phone as well. And it had $80 on it. I blew through that $80, buying a bunch of ringtones. And when you're a kid, I bought 15 ringtones, and then I kept some money to keep for text messages and calls. But I bought a bunch of ringtones on it, and I think I was probably 13. I think I was in 7th grade. So this was my second phone, and I bought a bunch of ringtones on it. But ringtones really aren't a thing anymore. We have music, and people. I mean, just think, do people really use music as their ringtones anymore? No, right? I mean,
people it fell out of favor. He kind of you got kind of like you said, he kind of just evolved, and
when you're older, it's kind of immature and stuff, right? You just have the app. I have an iPhone, and my ringtone is just the Apple ringtone.
Well, now hang on a second. I'm glad you brought this up, right? Let's slow it down for a little. I'm gonna take it a little farther. Are we talking about, let's distinguish, because there's a difference. Are we talking about when your actual phone's ringtone, or when the person's calling you, the ringer, he's if I'm calling you and your phone, it's ringing. That's the ringer base. It's ringing, right? I'm calling you, so it's on my ear, or it's a speaker. That right there used to be a song. What my song was? You're gonna laugh. It's an artist you probably don't really, well, you know about him, but you probably just don't really, you never think. I had the Ray J song. Remember there was a song by Ray J and the Young Bergs to be like, "Sexy, can I just part my man?"
Yeah. I remember. I had that as a ringtone too at one point.
Because it was a hot song back in the day. So that was my ringer. If you'd call me, you'd hear that. So if you called yourself from your house phone or another phone or whatever, you left your phone in the car, you're trying to call your phone to hear it, whatever. That's what you would hear. But it could still ring a normal ring, and then you can also have your ringtone could actually be a song. It could be an actual song, or it could be also a ringtone version of the beat. So again, there was a 50 Cent version for Candy Shop. There was something with Akon. I forgot what song he had. It was one of the songs. I think it was Convicts. That's one with Young Jeezy. That Soul Survivor song, and Akon. I think that one was a ringtone because it was mostly big hits. I think some Beyonce stuff, some the Pussycat Dolls, the Sierra, maybe some goodies that might have been the ringtone because it was a really nice beat, and they're making money off the ringtones. And remember, some of these artists make some good money. Not to shift the conversation, but some artists make some good money off the ringtones alone. Back in the late 2000s, it was a big thing. It started around 05, because I don't think ringtones weren't that popular before that, right? I mean, were they? Let me check. I think ringtones weren't really that big before before the early 2000s.
Yeah, they weren't too crazy.
Yeah, they weren't too crazy. I mean, they were, like I said again, there was something that came a little afterwards, but it was Yeah, the first commercial phone with customized ringtones was Japanese NTT.com, digital mobile, and then is released by NAC, a company called NAC, in is May of 1996. So he had free present songs from MDI format. So basically, it was like the song, it was like the beat could be like kind of changed a little, but it was like from a certain song, and that could actually be it was like a special feature in a very expensive phone, and it was mostly in Japan, '96, which means just to kind of like I mean, I'm looking here, I don't see it, but if I was like a guess, in America, probably came about a year later, because in Japan or a couple months later. So May '96 in America came out late '96, like December or early going to '97. It's the first, something like that. So kind of like, remember how video games would be coming in Japan first before America anyway, like the Sega Genesis and all that. A lot of them in Japan they'll come a little earlier. Some of the games like Mortal Kombat, another game that came out in 1992, Mortal Kombat. That was developed there, in Japan. But a couple
Yeah,
people.
you're gonna laugh
Yeah.
at what my first ringtone. My first ringtone.
All right.
Well,
I
actually,
can
no.
guess if you want, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know my actual first ringtone, but I know one of my first ringtones was Chamillionaire Riding Dirty.
Chameleon. Oh, they see me rolling. They hating. Yeah. You know what? And it sounds about right because again, this song came out in '06. Chameleon was big then. I was in high school, about to leave high school. No, it was like my junior year though, because that was the year of the World Cup. That was '06. Yep, '07. So you were actually in middle school, but you went to high school in '07, right?
Yeah. I was in middle school still when I had that phone.
That was like eighth grade or something like that. Eighth grade, right?
Yeah, I was like eighth grade. 2006 to 2007 was eighth grade for me. So the school starts in September and then it ends in June. So it was like the 06 07 year was great for me. And then I started high school 07 to 08 was my first year of high school.
07, 08, the year I left. That's the year. That was my first year in college. But I just went like in the fall, and then I went for a class in 08, and then I took some time off. I took some summer class in 08 too. But it was a little different for me then. And then that's when I went full time a little afterwards, the CCP, and then eventually I went to Holy Family. But yeah, 07, that was the year I graduated high school. You graduated middle school, which shout out to us. That was a big year for both of us. And yeah, I think like my sister got a cell phone then. I mean, she had I think she had like a Blackberry too, and she had something else before that, one of those like Nokias back in like 05, 06. But she got like the first iPhones like around like the second part of '07, going like the fall, late '07, and that was when I had just graduated high school. I had just graduated high school that summer. Then I went to that spring summer, and I went to college the next year, the next school year, next summer or fall rather. And yeah, I remember some people had them. That's when at that time I believe. Yeah, I still had the flip phone. Actually, when I started college, I had one Blackberry. It broke. Then I had another one in like '09. Yeah, in '09. Because I used to have a little white phone, which I might even still have it somewhere hidden somewhere with some archives in there. I actually might have that. That was my phone from like '07. No, '06, '07 to '08. Yep, '08. And then I got the other one.
Cool, man.
I had a flip phone, but it was a white phone. Then I got the same exact one, but it was black. Because I want to try different colors. I was big on different colors. Some phones are red, some are green or blue. Different type of opposites. So I was like, I got the white one, let me get the black one. And I got the one. Then one cracked too. Then I got the Blackberry. It's kind of like this, like kind of like the palm of your hand a little bit. It's like a little wider, a little huskier. See, iPhones are more they're husky. They're kind of long. This one's a little wider. The Blackberry with the little mini the actual buns. My last phone, by the way, with the buns was a Blackberry. Believe it or not, back in
right behind your screen. That's a Blackberry right behind you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right there. Yo, yeah. I just seen it. Just switch the screens. Yeah. I mean, you can't see me because.
Yeah, that's a Blackberry. And the actual, it's that. Yeah, that's a Blackberry. Yeah. And then actually, do you know what the OG Android phone is? So this is actually preceded the Samsung Galaxy, which came out in June of '09.
What was it called?
The OG from my notes, the OG first Android phone that actually turned up was the T-Mobile G1, and it was released in 2008.
I kind of remember that one vaguely. I remember seeing people having it, but I remember some commercials about it, like back in I think it was like late '08, '09, because I remember my friend had it in '09, so I remember seeing that one too. Yeah, again, another example. See, we're kind of doing well with the show because we're kind of talking about the different timelines and points. It makes sense. '08, '09, that's when I had the Blackberry. You can see on our screen, behind my screen or behind your screen. I had the exact same one, the black one. Yep, with the little light here. I remember chargers were different. Then it was I mean, I never even had. I don't know if they had portable chargers then, but I didn't have no pocket juice. I would just charge it. It'll be good. Remember how much more it could last? I remember when I got an iPhone, I'm like, I gotta charge every day, more than once a day. These phones could last you like 2-3 days, and then the third day it would kind of die out. The battery didn't discharge as fast for whatever reason.
It
I don't know.
doesn't. It also doesn't require as much. Like
It's not,
the
yeah.
iPhone, you know what I mean? You're using the internet, you're using data. I mean, you can still use internet and data on a BlackBerry and an Android
But
phone, but it's just not the same. With it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that an iPhone and like these touchscreen phones have today. And I think that's a key factor.
That's the whole thing.
There.
It wasn't a feature. The features today require more service, which requires more work for the battery to drain it quicker. Even if you have the brand new iPhone, and they make it like that on purpose anyway. I mean, that's a whole other thing, which we're not gonna get into all the other stuff. Some matters talk here is for other, some stuff here is for other conversations. For darker pages. But
what's one of the coolest phones you ever owned?
Definitely when I had the Nokia. I did have a Samsung. Like I said, at one point I was just like holding one for a little bit, but it ended up being like 5 months in 2014, and then in 2016 I had one. My mom had, or 2017 maybe. 2016, 2017 I had an Android just for a temporary. But honestly, bro, I'm gonna keep it real. I know it might sound funny because there's so much in the past now. My iPhone 3, bro, at the time when I first got it was like he had only been out for like 4 months, 5 months. It was still relatively new. My dad had it, but he didn't want to use it. He was really old school, so he wanted to keep the old phone. So I got it from him, and it was great. I mean, my first phone, I actually have a lot of pictures in the file, and that was my first iPhone 3, my first iPhone. So that one, the Blackberry, and one of my flip phones. And I guess I can say the Samsung. One of the Androids I had was actually the first one in 2014 when I was holding. It was pretty decent because I mean 2014 that wasn't. It was a while ago, but it wasn't like super. It wasn't like super long ago. Going on 7 years now, so it was like that was for the time it was there, bro. It was pretty good. And I took some pictures from it. I still have some pictures saved somewhere on my laptop and my flash drive. So it was it was a decent phone. So I think it was one of the cooler ones. But what my criteria cool would be, be the fact that it had a lot of cool features. So it was like okay, like photos. I could kind of go online a little bit. I could do a couple things. Even like back in 09, like 2010. Right now 2011, you could kind of go online. It's not the same service you have now. I mean now because you had Safari, that the iPhones kind of always had it, but obviously now it's way more. I mean, you can open up more pages. It's quicker internet. You can open up almost any page. There's more. Like more almost like tabs. You got to kind of click them out. There's notes. You know what I mean? Some of the first iPhones didn't have all that. If you compare iPhones.
Yeah, definitely. And I would probably say one of the coolest phones that I ever had was the LG or T-Mobile Sidekick. It was the Sidekick. The Sidekick was one of the coolest phones I ever had. It was the one where you could flip out like the keyboard and the screen. Hold on, I'm about to pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah, it was the T-Mobile Sidekick. They actually kind of brought it back a little bit, but it was a super, super cool phone. Do you remember this?
Yes, yo, I was just thinking about that. That had to be like 09.
Yeah.
Like 08, 09, because my boy had one of my friends had that. My boy Pat had that.
Yeah, see how the screen comes out?
Yeah, to kind of come out, you flip it kind of like almost like a mini computer, like a little to come out like this and back in. Yo, it's so funny though, because I was just thinking about that phone and you actually brought that up. I didn't know how to say it, like the name of it, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, the T-Mobile Sidekick, man. It was honestly one of my favorite ones. I forget which one I had. I don't know if it was the 2 or the 3, but dude, it was one of my favorite phones. Honestly, it was really, really cool. I mean, honestly, the iPhones today, you just can't beat them. Like, you're obviously not going to switch back to that technology, but I do think they actually just released a recent. I think they're trying to like redo it with the upgraded technology today. Let me see what the most recent release on this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, they released or they might be releasing something. Nah, I don't see anything. The only thing that kind of comes close is the new Samsung Galaxy Fold, and it's a $2,000 phone. Crazy.
These are $2,000 phones. See what I'm saying, bro? These phones are like just the prices alone. It's nothing in evolution of cell phones. The more the phones and the more they've improved, the bigger it's gotten. And the more it's like the prices of it, the maintenance, having a phone plan, paying your phone bill, just having a phone line. I mean, it's crazy, bro. You gotta have more than one phone line, type of thing.
It is crazy. Yeah, this new phone is insane, man. The screen is huge. Like it's almost like an iPad, dude. It folds in and out. $1,900 they want for this bad boy. $1,975.
And that's some of the phones that we have now. I mean, again, this is like more recently. Imagine a phone like this back then, like even like 6 years ago, or even like 5 years ago, it was different. So much has changed in 5 years, bro. And technology is going so quickly. Like even like in 2 3 years, like things are looking different now. There's different programs, online services. Even the internet has changed a lot since like the mid late '90s till now.
Yeah, it has, man. It's been a big shift, and it's been kind of crazy. I think if I had to sum up the time periods, I would kind of say probably like the 1990s into the early 2000s. It was kind of just the phones. They started out very very big, and they kind of got smaller. Kind of like as you kind of see behind me. You see, it started out with like this. This goes back to like 1980s even, and you got these huge phones, and then you had the phones like similar to what I had, where there's no flip, the screen isn't even colored. The screen is just it's green. It's a green screen. There's no color to it. And then it kind of expanded into colored phones. So screens that were flat, they weren't flip phones, but they had colored screens on them. And then we kind of went to what was it, like flip phones? And then like Blackberries, like I said, they were released in '99, but Blackberries kind of were very, very popular in the mid 2000s.
Blackberries, yeah.
And then as we all know that in like '07, Apple changed the game with the touchscreen phone. '08 was followed up by the OG in the
iPhone 2 came out like 2009, 2010ish, or 2009, right? Or 9, I would say. iPhone 2, or
I believe it was '09. So it was just competing with so Android decided to compete in '08, and then you had Samsung Galaxy that was released in '09, and iPhone 2 was released, I believe, in '09. And then the last decade, it's been just smartphones, touchscreens, finding different ways to invent. It's kind of gotten crazy. There were some cool phones sprinkled along the way in the 2000 to 2010 era too. I don't know if you remember the LG Chocolate. That was a cool phone.
Yeah.
The Envy. I actually had an Envy phone, and it lasted like a week. And someone pushed me in a pool with it in my pocket, and it went bye. Yeah, it was in my pocket, in like my bathing suit pocket. I got shoved in the pool and it crapped out. I had it for a week. I forget who made the Envy. It wasn't LG, I don't think. LG made the chocolate.
Right now, bro. I'm a bit. I need to cut you off. It was iPhone, and you got iPhone 2. It was actually iPhone 3G. 3GS was the third, technically. iPhone 4 was the fourth. iPhone 4S was the fifth. iPhone 5 was the sixth in total with OS. Remember? So first iPhone, like you said, June 29th, 2007. Oh wow, right after I graduated. Yep, around the time, around that month. Then July 11th, 2008 was the iPhone 3G, and it was the iPhone OS. But instead of the 1.0 was the 2.0. The first ever iPhone was just called iPhone, so that's technically the first one, the iPhone 1, basically. iPhone 2 was just called iPhone 3G, so there was no actual iPhone 2, operating system support. And say it again.
No, yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically, the iPhone 6S. 6X, yeah, the 6S, 6S Plus, which came out in September 25th, 2015, was actually, let me see, yeah, stopped operating 2018, but I mean, it's been like updates, so yeah, last exactly after, okay, so June 14th, 2021. So basically, the only iPhones, because the first iPhones, bro, are barely even really, they don't really use them anymore, so they're not used. The first, like, I don't know, can you still get a cell phone like an iPhone, the first one, or iPhone 3G, which is the second one?
Yeah, the iPhone first generation. Yeah, you can buy them. People sell. I mean, I don't know if you can buy them in stores. People sell them.
Right. It's gotta be updated though to modern to 2021 basically. Because I mean, even the old phones still got updates, but they're a lot older. So their phones were you can't count to do a lot of messages, a lot of music, a lot of camera because you'll be really slow. Like the old one. Like my dad got an old phone. He actually has an iPhone 4, but he uses a 5. And then I also have this one. Look, this is I believe this is the. Let me see.
So
this is the 5.
Yeah, fun fact, as of 2015, Apple has discontinued the original iPhone, so it can no longer support updated operating systems. As of about 6 years ago.
Yeah, yep. That's when they ceased to operate it, operating system support, yep. It only goes to iPhone 5S, and that's, yep. So the 5S came out 2013, September, and then March 21st, 2016 is when it is discontinued, but the operating system support, I mean, as of September 18th, and then next exclusive update was June 14th of this year. So that was the last exclusive update just passed a couple days ago, actually, and like 3 days ago. And then September 18th, 2019 was like when the last, I guess, big operating system, the phone was operating. But after that they started doing the update. So Yeah, I mean, in a couple, maybe in about a year, bro, they're not gonna have. I mean, iPhone 6 might not even be around, or iPhone. I'm sorry, the 5S might not even be operating anymore. In like 2 years.
Yeah, they're continuing support for them this year. So the iPhone 6S and the 6S Plus that I actually have right here, they will be discontinued for support this year. I'm not sure exactly what month, but it's crazy. They're going to be almost obsolete. Isn't that what you? Yeah. What iPhone do you have? Do you have a 6S?
Yeah, I have a 6S.
Are you going to need to make an upgrade?
Yeah,
you have to make an upgrade, my man.
That's the thing, bro. I'm up for an upgrade. I'm actually, I believe in sometime in July. So I mean,
yeah, you should get an upgrade then. Yeah, for sure. I have I don't have an X. Like I actually like the touchscreen button. So the last model that had that was the 8 Plus, which is what I have. I honestly could have just got a 13 or what is it, or the XS Pro Max or whatever just got released. The one with the 3 cameras. A lot of people have that. I was thinking about it, but I'm just like, like I kind of like the 8 Plus was one of my favorite models, so I decided to just go with that. It works fine. Like, it works great. Still support it, so that's all. I know I'll probably have that for a couple of years, and then
I got
I'll
searching too.
Yeah, for sure. But iPhone is just it's top tier. It's top tier. Yeah, but that's why I said, man. I'm like, yeah, I had to look at it. So all phones up into the 6S and 6S Plus right now are not supported anymore. So the iPhone 5, which I remember when the iPhone 5 came out in 2013, people were getting it and they're like, it was like everybody was so like happy with the upgrade on it and everything. It's crazy to think that like time moves so fast. Like iPhone 5s aren't even supported anymore.
Well, iPhone 12 and then the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max are they're some of the most recent ones. And October 23rd, 2020, yep, iOS 14.1, 14.2, yeah, yep, those are the ones. I mean, as you can see, bro, it's just a lot of phones, still surfacing, still, kind of like, coming out. But like the more recent, any phone that came out in 2017, 2018, up to September 2018, they're still good at current. But some of them have been, sort of discontinued. Yeah, current. My phone is current, but let me see. No, I got this. Yeah, I got the. See, here's the thing, though. I'm still good, bro, because I got the iPhone 6S Plus, but the 9.01, not the 8.0, which is the iPhone 6S 6 Plus. That's like an older version of mine. That one is going to be discontinued this year. Mine's going to be good still, but I'm still due for an upgrade. So, I mean, I could probably still get like an iPhone like the 8 or the 8 Plus or the iPhone X, which came out 2017. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, iPhones are very, just with the iPhones themselves, they've changed. They've gone to a whole nother level, to a whole other bracket plateau. Then the only one that can compete is the Android, but they got a couple other carriers, a couple other types of phones. Just not as popular, at least not in the States. And a lot of phones. I mean, this is kind of what it matters. Like the United States, Germany, Japan, England, the rest of Europe. I mean, Canada, Asia. South America. But I think worldwide, I would say Africa too, of course, or Middle East even. I mean, trust me, in Dubai they have some of the best phone services. The Vodafone was an old service, like Vodafone.
I remember. Yeah, Vodafone was that was the first text. That was the first text message, man. Vodafone.
Yeah, they had a building in my city in Albania, in Fier, Albania. It said a Vodafone. It was like that. I remember it used to sell like phones there. Again, this is like in 02. But I wonder 02. I didn't go in 03. I went in 04. I went in 05, and the building. I think it's still there to this day. But they sold phones there, and this is the hot phones at the time. So in Albania, some of them might come earlier, through some kind of trade or whatever, sometimes even smuggling or whatever. Some come, later, but they're coming, through, like the capital from another country, like from Italy, from Germany, all kinds of products. I remember seeing people like, when I was seeing like something on the news, I forgot what I was watching, but it was in Italy back in 08. And that's where like the cell phone, that was, kind of like the iPhones are going pop, getting popular in the world and popping and all that. And in Italy, they had some iPhones because they show people there like on the news and they're talking and they mention that. But the cell phones in 08, I mean, the iPhones in 08 were kind of still somewhat in the infancy stages, even in 08, because they came out in 07. Like 06, 07 is in a really, like, that was a big change. Late 06, 07, and then going into like June of 07, because that's when the first iPhones really came out. And like, that's what a lot of leaps and bounds, they did a lot of like big leaps in technology to bring us those kind of phones. And even then, to be fair, they were very limited compared to now, which means that the first iPhones they've been discontinued, but who knows? Things have a tendency to come back, bro. Like, remember, notice how DVDs and tapes are kind of coming back a little, somewhat.
Yeah, trends change.
Trends, yeah, it's also a trend.
It doesn't always happen in the technological market, but sometimes it does. With fashion trends always come back. It's just one of those things where some pieces are timeless and some pieces are, they're either in or they're out, back. But I know with technology, it depends. A lot of times, like I don't ever think we'll go back to flip phones. You know what I mean?
No. With technology, here's the thing. It's more like with games, but you know what it is? It seems like it's a replica of the original product, whether it's games or phones, whatever, from the 90s. But it's more like to bring back the nostalgia, but it's still in a different software.
Yeah, because let's be realistic here. Like people want their information faster. They like having their information faster.
Like quick, your fingertips already.
We're still used to having everything at our fingertips at this point. And I mean, that's the one thing. How about we spitball some actually pros and cons here of cell phone use to like how it's how the evolution actually that we have today. So we have the advancements in technology today. The pros I think are pretty obvious. We obviously are able to do things quicker. We're able to stream. We can watch Netflix from our freaking phones now. We have YouTube. We got Facebook, Instagram. Everything's at our fingertips. Text messages gets done a lot quicker now. You can make phone calls. Service has improved depending on your carrier. I think that it's so much easier to reach people now, and that's the obvious, right? There's so many cool bells and whistles. You can literally like ask Siri if you have an iPhone or Cortana, like if you have an Android, and it's like literally everything's been made so easy. We can FaceTime people at the drop of a hat on a business conference call. Yeah. Everything's become easy, like just even not just in the personal world, but in the professional world as well. So when you're actually like working for like employers, like things can just be made easy. Like you can like literally FaceTime.
Right. Cell phones, all that.
I think the cons is being very reliant on our cell phones. And this kind of goes off of social media like last week. There's a lot of cons of social media affecting your mental health. I feel like because we can send and receive information so quickly today, it puts pressure on us to respond quicker to people. I think when you got a flood of text messages coming into your phone, sometimes that can stress people out when they see a bunch of text messages that they haven't answered.
You know to answer first, right?
You feel more obligated and pressure and things of that nature. Whereas realistically, you have no obligation to answer someone back right away. But the thing about it is like it can be a big time distraction. A big time distraction. You could be texting. I mean, you got dating apps on your phone too. So we talked about this a little bit last week as well. You got Tinder, Bumble. Yeah, there's so many distractions.
Virtually everything. Let's be real. You got everything, bro.
I think the biggest distraction comes in with social media, as we talked about last week, and cell phones. You can combine them both. It's a big time distraction. Just think, it's so easy to get distracted. Like, what do you do when you're about to go to bed? A lot of times, you pick up your phone, you're scrolling social media, and you're doing this, you're doing that, and it's just
right. You're like this. You're like the whole time. You're like leaning bad
and it's so much wasted time. And the one bad thing about cell phones too is if you're on your cell phone before you go to sleep at night, which you should not be, an hour before sleep. If you are, they recommend that you actually wear blue light glasses. I actually have some here. I don't really wear them much because I actually kind of disconnect from my phone before I go to bed. But I have a pair of got these on Amazon. They were like $10, but like blue light glasses, and you can literally use them to shield your face, and it actually makes it easier to fall asleep because when you got that glare from your phone, or you can turn the brightness down as well into nighttime mode.
I mean, there's ways to prevent it, but no, there's to say that shut your phone off and put your alarm if anything, you know what I mean, and kind of put your phone as you wake up.
Ultimately, studies have proven that it affects your sleep cycle. So if you're on your phone right before you go to sleep or you pass out on your phone, you're more likely to have interrupted sleep patterns, which is not good. If we want our health in order, mentally and physically, you want to be able to get enough rest. If you're someone who works out regularly, which honestly, you don't have to work out every day, but you definitely should be working out 3 to 4 days a week. You're going to need to get proper sleep, right? You're going to have to rest. And we talked about this in the health and fitness episode. The 4 most essential things of health are sleep, your diet, your physical activity, and the number 4 is your stress levels. So you got to be able to maintain your stress levels. And it's very, very easy to get stressed out if you work if you work a stressful career. A lot of careers are very, very stressful. We deal with struggles with our relationships, whether that be our partner or our friends or familial issues. We deal with that. We deal with just the stresses of everyday life too. I mean, just
Yeah,
there's
just a
many
long
of them.
day that gets you, stressed out, and being on your phone, you might think you're kind of relaxing, but you can be on your phone a little. You just gotta know when to kind of put it down. And they had a meme, by the way. You ever seen a meme? I think I sent to you. Manny sent to me one time, and I seen it on Facebook too, where it's like a person like this, like well, for those who can see us, but basically it's a meme where person's got a phone in his hand, and from the phone is it's like the like lasers, like sort of like attracting him. So his eyes like on the phone, and it's like a big hand, like a spider, like grabbing him like this. So it's like a spider kind of phone, kind of grabbing it like a metal. But seeing that like your face is literally glued to your phone because we're always looking at our phones for everything. I mean, of course you got to look at your phone because it helps you with your everyday, life and all that. When you got to go somewhere, you can put your GPS, listen to a little music, check the news, check the weather. It's on your phone. So yeah, again, and this again, since we have about 10, 15 minutes left, we kind of like can talk about this as well. The use of the phone is changed drastically where it's becoming a small toolkit box of you, but it's literally a device. It's smaller than like the old phone, smaller than Game Boy, bigger than iPad. It's like almost like a remote, and you have it in your phone. And that's what it is. It's a device, what a mobile phone or cellular phone is. And what you're doing is now you're using that to help you sort of get to like through your day. You can use it for work. You can make phone calls. But that's where one of the points of talking, of this conversation was of the show today was how they change society and how they change. And you kind of mentioned a little earlier just now, a few minutes ago, but also how they change the usage. And again, back then there was no text. They can make a text. Back then you make a phone, put it in your pocket. That was all usage. Now it's like you could go in. You got notifications, which we didn't even talk on that. Obviously every phone can come up, equipped with all these social media or these different apps, whether it's YouTube, watching videos, dating apps, or the good stuff, or the fly stuff, yada 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 yada. You can go online, you can do notes, you have music and different. You have YouTube Music only, which is like mostly for songs. Although the regular YouTube has it too, but there's different apps. So I mean, you name it, bro. It's so much has changed, and yeah, I mean, that's what it is. You got to definitely distract yourself a little. And when you go to sleep, they do recommend turn your phone off. Some people do, bro. Some people turn their phone off before big games or before like big events, before big concert. Before I know some fighters that turn the phone off 24 hours before the fight, even on the day of the fight. They don't even be in a phone match, or they do. It's like turn it on, and like 6 hours before the fight, the wins the day before, they either relax, they go to the arena, start training, and then the fight. It's almost like you gotta go out there and perform. Some UFC fighters turn their phones off. I've done it before too. I remember I used to put on silence, or I've done it for tournaments or fights. I'll turn my phone off and then turn it on after like 2 hours after, I was done my, the fight, the match, tournament, the wrestling match, grappling match, a kickboxing match, whatever, MMA fight. But for me, it's more like not the stress, but I just don't want to be distracted. It's no matter, it's a distraction, Sometimes you do want to listen to music and relax before, like if it's like a light tournament, like a wrestling or jiu-jitsu tournament. Like I've done in a grappling tournament, we don't have to wait. But usually those events, you compete right away after that. So you don't have much time with your phone because you got to think about the next person you're rolling with or you're fighting, So yeah, definitely good to turn your phone on sometimes. Also, your usage of the phone should be, if it tells you how much screen time you use, then if you're on your phone a couple hours a day, even though they're scattered hours, that's a lot of hours. But realistically, we're all on our phone a lot during the day. Like it's just some people are on their phone less than others, and some adults, like people are like the older generation, like way older than us, like our parents and all that, they're probably on the phone a little less, but even they're on the phone. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're watching some videos on YouTube, because people now watch their phones and the internet, which is on your phone, rather than watch TV and
Yeah,
television. I mean, TV is a box on a wall. It's big, and you watch movies on TV. That's what television is. And internet, it's in a computer on your phone. Now it's on your phone. Some people
yeah,
can plug the phones to the TV. There's a thing you can plug the Apple phone. So is your phone on the TV? You plug it on the TV, plug it on the phone. So like a smart TV, smartphone thing is a cord. My sister had one. I don't know what happened to it. It was a good one too. And you make it a phone call. You go on your phone. You're scrolling your phone, but now it's like your phone is connected to the TV, so you can watch on TV. Like you go on Facebook, IG. It's hilarious, actually.
we're scrolling on our phones even when we're watching TV. It's just crazy.
Maybe scrolling our phones, watching TV. Right. Very good point, bro. I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot about that. Like you're gonna be watching a game TV, you're gonna be on your phone because you're checking what's going on in the world. It's safe to say cell phones are a means of communicating through the world. Now you can check anything on your phone, even if you're not talking with a person from far away. You can just a quick DM on Facebook, a text, a Snapchat, you name it. So social media and phone usage and the evolution of phones go hand to hand. And honestly, bro, we need more time for that. It's a whole other podcast, but maybe we could do that one day too because that's a good topic as well. I mean, there's so many topics to talk about. I mean, we mentioned ringtones, we mentioned old phones, the evolution of phones, the timeline,
Yep.
94 to
Yep.
nowadays, so the mid 2000s, which was the beginning. And ironically, Twitter came out around 07, 06 or 07, I think it was. I want to say 06, might have been 07, I'm not sure. But Twitter Now, it might have been launched before, even like in '99, because sometimes either way, but it started becoming popular until then. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I believe I think it was because we were doing like a digital media, we used to do like one app a week, and we used to like do an app. I did on Pandora once. Pandora was started like in the late '90s and started being used like in the like towards the 2010s. I think Google was started like in '97, believe it or not. But I remember like first using Google like '03 in high school, '04.
Yeah.
Google's changed too.
Google's been around
But
for a while.
Google, right, started, now Amazon's a little different because it's a like sort of like a website network, you kind of like, you get goods. It's not necessarily social media, but obviously with Amazon Stick and Amazon, the digital world has evolved so much. The Amazon Stick itself, the Fire Stick, it's pretty, it's a pretty recent, launch or, sort of like technological advancement, invention, if you want to call it that, which it is, an invention as well. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't remember people having a lot of Fire Sticks before 2017. 2018, 2019, right? That's when people start getting Fire Sticks.
Right.
And again, your phone connects to the internet, to your computer, basically you can check stuff on your computer on your phone as well as your TV. I mean, the bills, it's a phone, bro. It's so much more than a phone line. Like I remember back in the day, you pay your phone bill and you'd have a beeper and it'll beep you. You can go to the first phone, like a cell phone, a home phone, a pay phone. Now, who even uses pay phones anymore? They're a thing of the past. I mean, it's still there, but
yeah, you had what was it? Not just the payphone. They had what was it? Yeah, you said a beeper, like like literally just like a little beeper that people would use.
A little beeper. Beepers were big. Like my sister had one in 01, 20 years ago, but they were like big like in the 90s and 2000s. Well, actually, realistically, they might have been out before that even. I mean, it's a whole other episode. I mean, again, if we want to do technological media and digital media, we can do about, that actually be another episode. And all this is part of digital media. So, or real quick, bro. So, all right. So I know you asked me earlier. I need to tell you this. I guess I can share this because we got time. So, you know how this episode was actually inspired, by the way?
What's that?
So, the way I even came up with this episode was I kind of came up on the spot because you asked me the day about the topic, and remember when the topic picked up, I was like, yo, let's do this episode because I did a topic on this and I did a research paper on this kind of episode years ago, back in like I think it was like in 2014 when I was in college still. And Maris was actually my class. It was my research methods class, and my term paper was on cell phone usage. Just so I told you earlier, I couldn't find the paper because if I had that, bro, man, I could have been, I couldn't be looking at that. That could be my notes right there. Even though it was done back then, it was still to this day still good paper, bro. I believe I got an A in that paper. I didn't get an A plus. But Holy Family was a very hard grading school. I mean, to get a good grade, it was hard. Holy Family,
Right. Do you remember what a two-way pager was? A two-way pager.
I remember hearing about them, seeing them. Even,
like
I never had one, but people had one.
Like a flip it open like a keyboard, and you could like type on it, like a little text message for people to page you, and you could like text.
It was like it was like an early form of text, kind of. You know what I mean? How we we had like the messenger thingy at the bottom. How now we have like DMs, and you can actually do it on your phone. But back then it was actually on your computer, and you could chat like right here. And a lot of jobs do that. Like you have a name, I have a name, and we chat, and as we go, Napster of course came up around like 99, but back in like there was American AOL, the messenger on AOL. That's when that was big, like 98, 99, America Online, 2000, 2001. Again, '01 was a big year for many reasons, bro. It was 20 years ago, but it was a big year in terms of like how much changed. Just like how 2011 was and 2010 was like stables in the game, because 2010, 2011 gave way to the whole decade, and even last decade, which is huge for technology, it was started by these 2 years. And think about this, IG was started in 2012. So there was, as recently as 2011, which was the year you graduated high school, there was no IG. Facebook had been going on for a couple of years already, but IG wasn't around. And now TikTok only came out in 2020 as a new app, TikTok, right? Because I don't think TikTok was around 2019. I don't remember seeing TikTok.
TikTok's, I think it actually was around in 2019. It wasn't as popular. It kind of took off last year during quarantine.
During quarantine, oh yeah. Quarantine again. It's funny how chain of events, a butterfly effect, if you want to kind of call that, because it's kind of similar, give birth to that. A virus hits in China, whatever happened, whatever. It was almost the end of the world, pandemic. And then in the pandemic, more people start podcasting, more shows were done like this kind of podcast, through via Zoom.
Yeah, TikTok actually came out in September of 2016.
TikTok, September 2016, see? But it took off last year, like big.
Yeah, big time last year.
Yeah. Because it's funny, because even with IG, I'm in IG off my old phone, which was my iPhone 5, and that was in 2014. So I'm in IG in 2013, around like the late summer, and IG had been out a whole year before that. And then on Facebook, Facebook came out, '04, but to the public, '06. So we'll just say '06 as far as the masses. And I made my first Facebook in '08. Well, my current page, but I mean, that's another one we could do. Another topic we could do for next, say for another time could be the evolution of social media platforms. And I mean, I've also done papers on those, bro. I've done a lot of presentations. I did Scholars Week, one of those, got good grades. So for me, this is good topics, which is why I chosen for the podcast. It's not a bad thing. Not to mention, I didn't even look at my notes, even though there's this is a term paper from 7 years ago. It still stands true today. I mean, it's still a tough term paper, and it's still the test of time. And that's what I wrote about how cell phones are kind of good and bad in a way because they change communication. People don't want to talk about by phone. A lot of people don't talk face to face anymore. And yeah, I mean that was a big paper, and it's true. I mean, in 2021, about 7 years later, it's close to 7 years later, it stands true. A lot of people still, telemarketing has changed. Telecommunications is so much more, and it's changed in the last, like I said, in the last like 15 years. But even in the 90s, where cell phones are still kind of like newer, it was starting to change because then you can still send a messenger, you can still go see somebody, call them on the phone, but call them on your house phone. But then you have a cell phone. Now it's like, your phones, you can talk to people. Back then, when you talk to people, there was a way like this. There was a phone. There was some kind of phone. It was like more like a connect. It was more like online. You can actually talk to somebody online. There was I've seen it in a movie being done back in like in the earlier 2000s, like 2001 around then. And there was a way to people talk on the phone and see each other. But now, fast forward like 20, 21 years later, it's all ballgame. Now you have FaceTime, you have Skype, you have, IG, you have Messenger, you can actually call people there. There's so many, again, your phone got connected to so many other ways, apps, because you can use your phone to call somebody on Messenger, on Facebook, without even having their number. You just, as long as you're friends with them, bingo, boom, you can call them. You see what I'm saying, bro? That's an advancement. That's a change. So there's so much to talk about, really.
True. Yeah, Andrew commented in, and I'm reading some comments from Facebook Live. He said, them Nokia Johns were freaking indestructible. You could hit that John with a sledgehammer, and he's like, and then hit up your mom and still call her and ask what's for dinner. And Marius commented in and said the Sony Xperia Z was his actual favorite Android phone, and the Microsoft Lumia 640 was his actual first smartphone he ever owned. So yeah, Microsoft makes phones as well, and so does the Sony's. The Sony Xperia Z was his first Android phone, not his favorite actually, his first on there. But yeah, good points, guys, for sure. We got
here too. The Nokia were indestructible.
Yeah, Nokia's really are. They're indestructible.
The original iPhone is going for like $3,000 on eBay. Left myself. Andrew said that. Yep, that's right, Andrew. I mean, it's so much been going on, man. I mean, it's like the first iPhones and all that. It's almost like collectibles. I mean, maybe because they're not even used anymore. So it's a thing of the past, like in that sense of the word. And no one even uses it. It's like I bring you one of my old phones. Is this big? I can probably find an old phone somewhere here. You know what I mean? But hang on a second. Let me see. While we're on the topic and you're live. Watch this. Look at his camera. Put his cameras.
Whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, digital camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one too. Right? I got my first digital camera when I was 14.
This is a CyberShot Sony 12.1. So Sony lenses. So this is like, you can probably still use these, but I mean, this is such an old, thing these days, They're just a thing of the past, this kind of cameras.
Right.
See?
That's crazy, man.
So now, phones are kind of cameras, but now you don't need this now because you have a phone. And you can go you can actually kind of save your pictures or go there, pull your pictures up at a Rite Aid and still select the ones you want and still actually print them out. The same you could do with this or with the old camera from the 90s, those old black cameras, the old Sony ones, like the ones from like the early, mid-90s, late 90s. My dad had one of those. He actually still has one, which has film. He has a film. Like he has a little, you think about it, it's called, in Italian, they call it nastro. It's like the film. It's like long, and you can see the picture on the little film. And they're usually like black and a little goldish brown, like this long, and you have the pictures and all that. I still got some of them somewhere in there, bro. I'm like, and that's like you can make some motion pictures using old pictures. If you have those, you can make those with the projector. You can make those things, where they actually can see the movement in the picture.
Wow, that's crazy. We're going back some times, man.
Yeah, different time. Now, all right, real quick. Remember, for example, I think was it the Eminem song? It's called Mockingbird. You know the song Mockingbird by Eminem?
Yes.
Remember that video when he's like watching some footage? I think it was like younger, his daughter, something like that in the beginning, and he's like, and the song starts, and he's like kind of chilling. It's like a movie theater thing. He's got the projector. That's what I mean. You can take old pictures of you and make it to like it's kind of like bringing some memories because it's like you see yourself when you're very little based on some old pictures. But to have that, you gotta have like some crazy program for that. I think you need like the whole projector thing. You need the whole pictures, the whole cameras, and all the that equipment for that. I want to say still could be done though. I mean, but you gotta go to like a photographer, like a professional. See stuff right there, but I like that kind of stuff because I'm kind of like a little into the past and I like old technology, so to speak. I'm kind of like Marius feels the same way. I know Marius knows about it. I know you watching Marius, but because he likes the old stuff too, and he had an old camera too. He showed me, so you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, I got this right here, and I have like another one like this. Now I also have a Sony somewhere, like a nice one. It's like from like I think it was bought like in 2017. My brother though, he got like a nice 2018 Canon camera, like the big one, like if you're on your neck and take big pictures.
Yeah,
like yeah, those cameras, bro. To get cameras to make movies these days, to actually shoot a movie, like actual film, not a huge movie, like a movie, you gotta get like they're expensive. They go up to 2 Gs, 3 Gs, or if you share between two people, like $500 to rent one of the big ones, just to kind of capture everything, because you gotta get the lenses. The lenses can go up to $500. The camera's like 2,000. So remember, cameras are good, but if you got the good lenses, that's what kind of catches everything, So I mean, you're gonna drop bread. And then there's the the little remote control cameras that go in the air, fly in the air, like the helicopter ones. Like those are the drone. They're nice.
Yeah, some of them are a few G's, depending on what you get and what the quality is, for sure. I guess we kind of, for sure. I guess we can kind of wrap it up in the next couple of minutes because I think we covered a lot of stuff here tonight, and we're actually over the hour. We're at an hour and 6 minutes here.
Over the hour, but we see. Okay,
you want to make any closing comments before we wrap up tonight?
I think we covered a good amount for like how much we had time prepared everything, and for the topic. Honestly, if you ask me, and again, this is I guess we can leave. We have to say yes or no. We can leave the door open for possibly even a part 2 because it's a very long subject, and it's like it's easy to kind of go off subject because it's so in depth, and so we kind of brought it down a little more, narrowed it down because it's broad. So we kind of narrowed it down a little more, which is why we did 94 to like 2021. But like I said, you can talk about cameras and old technology because the phone. Talking about cell phones, brings all that. So I think we did a good job, in kind of covering that. It was a pretty good show. Some people, definitely tuned in, and some people even commented on YouTube and on Facebook, I see. So, I mean, we covered just about anything. I mean, we didn't get into like our top phones and this and that, but it's pretty obvious, our top phones that, I mean, pretty much the iPhones, and we talked about some of our favorite ones, the Androids, of course, some of the old, even like the old Galaxy ones and all that. I mean, I had a old Galaxy phone, so, and of course I had the the Blackberries. So yeah, I think we covered everything, bro. We didn't have no guests last week, so there's no real shout outs. Just if you want to make any announcements, this will be the time right now. Just basically, we're kind of we're back. We're gonna be mostly, I believe, from now on, like you said. For those that don't know, we're gonna be mostly on StreamYards, so we're not gonna be on as much on Zoom anymore. We might probably still use us here and there, but StreamYards seems to be more like kind of like quick for us and more features and options and all that. So I kind of like this app a little better and this kind of like service for the our meetings and all that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Next week's episode 40. So guys, tune in. We got something special kind of going down next week as we kind of bring some guests back into the mix. So we got the big 40 next week. Guys, the Locked In podcast. We're about 11 away, or actually about 10 away from episode 50, which will definitely have something special kind of going on for that 10. One. No real shout outs on my end yet because again we didn't really have any guests. All I said was happy Juneteenth. This will be this Saturday.
Yeah.
Guys, enjoy. Some of you might have long weekends, as I do myself. So enjoy your 3-day weekends to all of you who are off tomorrow. And ultimately, no real shout outs, but the 76ers need to get the hell together because
it was a big game.
I don't know. A lot of people have faith that they're going to win 7. I don't know about all that. We'll see. I
this game was. I don't want to talk about it, but we can actually do a little again, small segments, and because me and you, I'm talking about doing some small videos besides the shows and the weekly Thursday podcast. So we can probably cover it like next time on 40. Just kind of one of the things to cover, like a subtopic, because we haven't done a lot of them in a while. But
that's if they make it to the next round because they might be out.
If they make it right, which is a big F, and we'll kind of see again. I don't want to jinx them, but I don't want to talk about it too much. But it's a shame what happened last time. It was not a. I only caught some highlights because I was busy. I had a pretty long day, bro. Got beat up a little bit. Went to do some jiu-jitsu, some MMA. So I had a little scar here, some of mine, but it's a little mouse. When I closed my, it looks like I was bag on my. In reality, just a little swell because I took a knee, bow, right to the face. I was like, oh shit, and maybe possibly a headbutt too, but I don't remember much. I just remember training and it was pretty cool. I went back to the mats a little, so some news there, guys. And I was telling some people that I'll probably be back to like MMA fighting in like in a month or so. Right now, I'm just taking it easy because I'm kind of like focus on other things and soccer games as well as a little bit of podcast and a few other things. But I will be in the gym and I'll be definitely going back soon. And I'll be still training and sparring. So watch out, guys. It's gonna be a good one. And other than like you said, bro, 11 episodes if you count 40 to 50, because 40 to 50 is technically 40 to 49 is 10 and 11 to 50. So yeah, I mean about 10, 11 episodes. I mean today doesn't count. These places episodes pretty much already over. So for 40 is gonna be a good one, but 50 is gonna be even a bigger one. And 50, I believe, episode 50 would fall sometime in August. It seems like maybe July or August, right? I think might be possible.
Yeah, it'll probably be August.
Or yeah, I think it might be either August or even September. So it might be around the time that it might be like late August, right before it goes to our 1 year anniversary, which was like September, I believe the 9th or something like that. So wow, yeah, but we've been a while, been doing this for a while. So we'll talk more behind the scenes, get a few things done. But again, definitely going on, guys. I'm definitely working on also social media stuff. On a page a little, on IG page, on a banner, possibly do some business. Some other bloggers, IGers, that, on Instagrammers, IGers, YouTubers. We'll definitely try to bring somebody. We'll have some guests again, guys. It's been about 3 or 4 episodes with no guests, but again, we'll keep behind the scenes, and there'll be to be fair, some good episodes just with us. So, we're kind of like not worried about that, but we're gonna bring guys some guests. Then we'll have some bloggers as well on the show, and to make it more exciting. So again, comment, subscribe, like the video, share. Also, definitely give us some feeds, and we appreciate the live chat. Guys like Andrew, like Marius, my friend D'Angela, my good friend Thao, and a few other people that you'll be watching. My boy Bleddy. So just definitely stay tuned. Also, shout out to my man Matt Hill. He just won a jiu-jitsu tournament, I believe. No, he took second place, but he did really well though. He didn't win; he took second place, but he still did really good. So, he's the guy that runs I believe he owns he's like part of the co-owner of Primal Nutrition. Remember I was telling you about this, Steve? Primal Nutrition, right there.
Yeah,
Great place
yeah.
for you guys to do supplements and all that. So I mean, I know you like that kind of stuff because after you work at a gym, it's good to have protein shake and all that. It's an excellent store, man. I mean, I've been there a few years, but I mean, I used to go there a lot and buy from them and all that. I bought a couple stuff as well, so probably I'll go back there. So yeah, that and yeah, I mean, I had fun, bro. It was a nice little Thursday. It's almost a start of a good weekend. I guess the weekend starts at like around 4 o'clock on a Friday for some people, but you're off, so yours starts tonight technically. So happy early weekend, broski. It was good stuff, man. Definitely a very informative episode. I think it was a very serious one as well because we had to kind of address something about like cell phones. I mean, we spent so much time on them. They're part of we use them kind of to kind of help us with the podcast, even though we use computers. So it was overdue. It was definitely a good episode, as far as like you said earlier, good choice, and I thought it was a pretty good choice, So I've done a paper on this. I was lucky and knew a little about the topic, and I didn't do a whole lot of research, but it was good. It was kind of fun to research some old research I did back in the day, or even more recently for for the phones and all that. It's good to know a little bit about the phone history. So, yep,
definitely, man. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, bro. Right. Well, I guess that will be all. And again, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate you guys, or viewers, our fans, our locked in, guys,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you to everybody who's watched as always. Guys, as I always say, without you guys, it just doesn't work. So thank you to our viewers, long time, and even if you're new or you've been here since the middle of the way, whatever this may be, thank you for your support as always. And you can always support us on our other social media pages as well, like Facebook, Instagram, whereas on Facebook, we're searched as the Locked In Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the_locked_in_podcast. And on our Instagram, you'll see a link to our link tree, which you can also pull up Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I believe our website as well. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. Spotify as well.
Spotify.
If you don't have time to watch us, a lot of people don't always have the time to watch us. They might have to they might be in the car or doing something else. They just want to listen in. You can find us on Spotify for that as well. But yeah, as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend. And next week, we'll be back at you guys with episode 40. We'll have some good promotions coming out for that one with a really, really solid guest in the pipeline. So it's going to be fun. And we'll be back at you guys next week.
Yep, definitely. It was going to be a good one, man. I mean, can't wait for the next one. But yeah, it was a good one. So definitely have a good weekend, bro. Definitely stay in touch with me. And let's crush next episode as well. And that's 40. So the big 40. We're getting there. 10 to 50 after that. So
yeah, man. So, all right, guys, have a great night. Happy Juneteenth. Go Sixers. And let's work, guys. Let's work. Let's keep the grind going.
The last episode of the spring. So this is actually the end of the whole we're going to third quarter, guys. So which means number 40 will be the first day, not the first day, the first episode of summer. So we'll also see where Sixers are at by then. But go Sixers, of course. Phillies as well. And
Yeah,
and
for sure.
and like I always say, bro, be the best and fuck the rest, and be you and be true.
Be true and be you. Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
so be sure to put that work in, guys, but also take the time to relax and recharge as well. It's summertime, guys. So guys, enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend. See you next week for episode 40.
All right, later, bro. Peace.
Later.